Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow, and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Today we're in Yorkshire at the Ryedale Model Engineers Society, which is the home of this amazing mainline setup. It's a double track mainline featuring 3.5, 5-inch and 7.25-inch gauge, so you can run a whole variety of things. What's most impressive is today there's meant to be 200 items of rolling stock out and about and some 20 locomotives. So you can see behind me they're marshalling trains and getting stuff ready. So trains will go on the run, they'll do things, they'll come in here, the train will be marshalled and sent back out. It's fully signalled with 2 different signal boxes, and it's frankly quite amazing. But of course, before the day could start, we were here bright and early to see some of the engines being prepared. But first, a word from this video sponsor, which is Great Eastern Model Railways here in Norfolk. So let's go have a look at some of the stuff they do in store.
Situated at 199 Plumstead Rd in Norwich, inside you'll find a veritable treasure trove of model railway wonders, from brand new stock and locomotives from the big manufacturers like Hornby, Bachmann and Helgen in a variety of different gauges. And it's not just locomotives, it's everything you might need to build yourself a model railway. It also features a test track to make sure your new acquisition runs just the way it should, and features a frankly amazing array of second-hand stock, which turned out to be a bit dangerous. Oh, got one of them. Ooh. It's a truly amazing array of models found only in store. This shop isn't online, so you need to phone or visit in store to get the best deal. And to show just how good of a model railway shop it is, they currently hold Bachmann's trophy for being the best retailer of the year for 2022, and what's more, they've also won Model Rails Retailer of the Year for 2022. They are a multi-award winning shop, which is genuinely an amazing feat for them to accomplish. And not only that, they're now also following my steps and have got their own YouTube channel, reviewing and showing off some of the amazing products that they sell inside the shop. So come and pay them a visit. You won't be able to leave empty-handed, or give them a phone call to place an order. They ship all over the UK. And with that, on with your regular viewing. Despite their diminutive stature, these engines require the same amount of care, attention and preparation as their full-size counterparts. And you'd think that being smaller wouldn't make all of this easier, but no. Being a scaled down model of the full-size things means that everything is closer together and harder to get to, because these are truly scaled down thoroughbreds. As the day went on, more engines were taken away from being on display and brought round to the steaming bay, ready to be brought into life for operating trains throughout the day, which meant that this lineup around the little turntable kept changing, and for a second you could just believe that it was a main line shed. Until a giant came on and started moving stuff about. But it meant for us there was an ever-changing lineup of engines, and that was really exciting. The biggest advantage, of course, was that as they're much smaller, they come into steam much quicker, and it wasn't long before trains were running.
Now, it is a particularly cold November day, and what's wonderful about this is the light only just, at the best part of the day, clips the top of the trees. So the whole day here, it's felt like it's that evening light. So everything's in low, soft lighting. It makes everything look so pretty. It's just magnificent. It is, however, exceptionally cold, like really, really, really cold. But the most impressive thing on top of it isn't, in fact, the locomotives. It's the sheer variety and amount of stock that's here. I've never seen so many scale wagons and coaches, and we're talking an absolutely daft amount of money. We know that a locomotive like this costs silly money. But when you start thinking of the cost of every subsequent wagon that comes after it, this is just silly. This here is worth more than my entire collection of vehicles. And that's not even an exaggeration. And if you start looking at the Mark 1s, that's more money than I've ever had in my life. Like, throughout the entirety of my life. It's silly, but absolutely magnificent. And when you're alongside watching stuff go by, and a long train goes past, you can kind of believe that you're watching the full-size stuff. The other coolest thing that is here is the chap driving the 66 round has a wagon which is basically a lunge behind it. And he's just sat laid back driving it. It looks awesome.
It wasn't long before I was off at the regulator of one of the engines, being taken out on this absolutely superb K4. And having passed the owner's inspection, I was told to report to the yard to go pick up a train. And with that, I headed out onto the main line. The thrill of working an engine hard and it going at a scale 60 miles an hour was something absolutely intoxicating, and I was absolutely loving it. Although going from being a driver with a fireman looking after the fire and the water to being the driver and the fireman was a very sharp and quick learning curve.
Shut the regulator down as we come around the top. Now, as we come over the top, I need to fire on the gradient, on the run.
And of course, as this was a fully functional main line in miniature, that meant there were multiple trains out on the line, not just ahead and in front of me being controlled by the multiple signals and blocking, but engines running on the other line as well, like this little Y4, which was held at the signal going in the opposite direction with a goods train. And I've always really liked these little tank engines, it's so diminutive, particularly when it's all scaled down. And by the time I saw it again, I was the one being held at the signal. And whilst I continued to be held at the signal, I was passed by an engine on the complete opposite end of the scale, the Austerity 210O, thundering past with a freight. Although they didn't get very far because Muggins here had been stopped at the next signal, forcing them to be checked at the signal on the steepest part of the line, resulting in this rather spirited hill start. By this point, I'd also been given the road and had long since disappeared, meaning the line ahead was clear for the austerity. And whilst my cameraman was busy filming everything, I was still hurtling around on the little K4. This really does give the impression that you're out hurtling along on the main line. The little engine gets the feeling of real speed, and you're surrounded by sidings and yards where other trains can go in for their train to be remarshalled, reordered, and then taken out by another locomotive. And all this shunting isn't just done by people, nope, it's done by locomotives. Which was a really cool way to do it, because this is more than just a main line, it's a fully functioning railway. Just look at the size of that marshalling yard, where trains can come in, be sorted, reorganised, and then a different locomotive can come along, couple up to them, and then take them out on its way. There's a real plan behind what is happening. I also particularly like that some of the locomotives, like this Class 10, are fitted with remote controls, so the operator can use them without having to ride on board the train. Watching something come in off the main line captured the same excitement as it would on the full-sized counterparts, with the engine winding its way through the points and coming alongside all of the other stock. And as it comes along, it would then pull up under the gantry under signal control, awaiting instructions for its next move. And once they'd come to a stand and then been taken off their train, one of the shunting engines could be sent for. And sometimes it would be more than just one locomotive needed to move one of the longer trains. And it results that there is always something going on. There's always a flurry of activity. I will just quickly point out that this travelling post office set behind Britannia is fully operational. And don't worry, that's not a runaway locomotive. It is in fact under remote control. The little Hymek had spent most of its day ferrying wagons between the two yards and was now returning light, ready for its next duty, which was to marshal this long train of wagons ready to take them back over to the other goods yard. And once it had arrived and uncoupled, a shunting engine was called for. I suppose I should come clean and say at this point, whilst Charles was filming everything, I was still happily charging round on the K4 with not a single care in the world. Charles caught up to me as I was stopped by the signal behind the A4.
This is so much fun. It's unreal. I've got a scale speedo down here. I'm doing a scale 60 miles an hour and it's amazing.
Charles did try to explain to me that I'd been driving for quite some time and we still had a lot of filming to do, which I promptly ignored.
It's so good.
It soon became abundantly clear to Charles that any hopes he may have had of me helping him had been very much misplaced. By this point, I had covered over 40 scale miles and had been forcibly removed from the engine by its owner, as he had a queue of people of whom he'd promised to go with his engine. My favourite thing about the entire setup was how the railway acted when something went wrong. Hearing that the WD was really struggling for steam, and so the decision was made to fail it. But rather than using the hand of God and push the thing back round to the steaming shed, they decided they would fire up the Gronk and send that out as a Thunderbird locomotive. And to me, that's so cool. Your miniature engine has failed. Rather than pushing it, you get a rescue locomotive. By this point, the radial tank had had enough and come off the train, leaving the 4MT to do some more circuits on its own.
Yeah, coming.
And finally, because I'm not completely heartless, I made sure that Charles got a drive off the K4 for all of his good work filming 99% of this video.
So that brings us to the end of the day here at the Ryedale Model Engineers Society. As you can see, the engines behind us are being disposed because, well, frankly, we've lost track of time. We've been spending time talking to some of the lovely guys who are part of the railway, talking about engines, talking about the railway, and just pushing the world to rights. It's been absolutely fantastic. There's been this incredible variety of locomotives and trains out, and just the sheer amount of effort and time that's gone into the stock alone is breathtaking. So if you're in the area, it's well worth coming to look. There's a link in the video description to their website, and they'd love to hear from you. If you want to come, get involved, bring your locomotive. They do an amazing event in the summer where they have a miniature mainline with up to 40 engines running a timetable service, with the plan being they move the stock from one end of the site to the other and then back again. It's meant to be proper special. So if you have enjoyed this one, how about clicking somewhere over there for one of the other videos we've done on the miniature things when we flew a drone and controlled the railway from that, or I don't know, some other training video there. And with that, I've got a 5-hour drive home. See you later, guys.